Wow, is it Mercury retrograde or what? I have already filmed this entire video and it turns out that my audio wasn't connected, so it was completely without sounds. And now that I'm trying to refilm this, my camera isn't even connecting to my desktop. So you know what? We're just gonna do it in a PowerPoint style. I have created a PowerPoint for all the decks that I decluttered in 2022. So let's get started. I already filmed a video on decks that I got in 2022, and here is what I decluttered. And when I say decluttered, I mean decks that I sold, that I either passed on or sold. So let's start with in January. First deck that I decluttered is the Mindful and Millionaire Oracle. This is a Dutch Oracle that I got in a subscription box that I have since canceled, and now the entire subscription box no longer exists. I did not like this. I did not like this oracle. I don't know. I don't use Dutch oracles or Dutch tarot cards, whatever, because I do all of my readings in English because I have an English speaking like YouTube channel and audience. So a Dutch oracle deck, it doesn't really have a place in my collection, and I didn't even choose to get this. I just got it because the theme of the box was abundance. And yeah, there's a reason that I canceled that subscription. I don't know, I didn't really like it. So next we have the Moonology Oracle. I'm pretty sure I also somewhere in this year decluttered the Moonology Manifestation Oracle, or maybe I wrote down Moonology Oracle for this, but I meant the Moonology Manifestation Oracle. I'm not really sure, but I have had both and I have decluttered both because these are just not cards that I like to use. I like the idea of doing like full moon and new moon readings, but in practicality, I just don't really do them all the time. I sometimes do them, but it doesn't really make sense for me to have these cards. I am not as like in tune with the moon as I maybe would like to be, but I don't know. There's just something about these cards that I couldn't use them for like as an oracle. I have very specific oracle needs, so you will see that I decluttered quite a few oracle decks this year because I just get way easy, like way easier for me to connect to tarot cards than it is for me to connect to oracle cards. So this is it for January. I believe we're gonna go into February, and this was the Mystic Mondays Tarot that I had, and this was one of my first couple of tarot decks, but I got this from my best friend because she had it and she didn't use it anymore. And then she gave it to me in the hopes that I would like it. And I did definitely like it for a while, and I got some really good readings with it. But ultimately, I decided that it wasn't really for me. And one piece of advice that I want to give to you is that, you know, it can be really hard to declutter decks or get rid of decks or sell or pass on decks that you have gotten as a gift, because it feels so wrong sometimes. But also I feel like the intention of the gift is to, you know, to help someone else out in some way, or to gift someone something that they will enjoy. And if it's not something that they enjoy, then I think it's kind of selfish from the gift giver to say, no, but it was a gift, so you have to keep it. I think that's really selfish, and that is not what my best friend is at all. And she was like, no, if you don't like it, go ahead, you can sell it, I don't care. It was a gift and you can do with it whatever you want. That's why I love her. So yeah, the Mystic Mondays Tarot. Next, the Dark Wood Tarot. Turns out I'm not really into like super dark themed tarot decks or decks in general, but what I also thought about this deck is that the art is way too small and delicate for these tiny cards with the bigger borders. There's also not really a way to trim these cards because of the borders. I don't know. I like Sasha Graham. I really do like her. I think she has another deck coming out soon. I don't know if it's the Tarot of Owls or if that's someone else, but I definitely know Sasha Graham has another deck that she is coming out with in 2023. So I'm definitely keeping my eyes out for that. But yeah, this wasn't it for me. Next, the White Sage Tarot. Also got rid of that in February. I just didn't like it. I tried to like it because it's definitely my aesthetic. It has the cuteness, the lightness, the brightness. And I really, really like that. I love animals, so I really wanted an animal tarot deck to work for me, but this just did not work for me. The as you can see here, the minors are very pippish, and I didn't really like that. And just overall, I just was not able to read with this deck, so I never reached for it. Just I don't like it. Don't like it. Then the last, I think this is the last one in February. We'll see. The original Rider-Waite Tarot. I totally forgot to talk about this in the decks that I got in 2022, but I also got the Centennial Edition because I got rid of the original one, so I could get the Centennial Edition, and that one I prefer way more. I barely used this original version, but ever since I got the Centennial, I have been reading with that a lot more. I love the neutral energy that it has for my political tarot readings. So yeah, I am really glad that I decluttered this one, that I sold this one, and that I purchased the Centennial Edition instead. Yes, now we're going to go into March, and I decluttered a lot of Oracle decks in March because I just was finding that there were a lot that I was super specific about what kinds of Oracle decks that I like. And these were just not that. I have very specific Oracle needs, and these just don't. I can't even really describe what I exactly want in an Oracle deck, but I can tell you that this is not it. This was it didn't, and I am not even like a person who is super deep, but this just was too superficial for me or too specific. And sometimes when a keyword is super specific, it can be hard to try and find a way to interpret it in a certain way if that specific way isn't really applicable to the situation or the question. So that is what I found difficult to use with the Daily Crystal inspiration. Then I think a similar thing with the Green Witch Oracle. I think it looks stunning. I got this because I saw it in a video of Vanessa Samina, and she has a gorgeous aesthetic. She is a gorgeous woman, but she used this deck, and I saw that deck. And I think she had like the potato card or something she pulled for a reading, pick a card reading that I watched. And I literally went on the internet to Google like Oracle cards that show potato and I don't know what else. But ultimately, I found the Green Witch Oracle, or found that it was the Green Witch Oracle, and I instantly purchased it. And I definitely have used it for a couple of fun readings. I have also done a pick a card where you could pick like fruits or flowers or whatever I did, plants that are shown in this deck. And it was really fun and I enjoyed using it, but ultimately it just wasn't really a good deck for my collection. Next, in March, I sold the Pagan Tarot. I liked the idea of that this could be somewhat modern, but I don't know, it wasn't my thing. I didn't like it. I never reached for it. I couldn't even get through like me flipping through the cards because I got bored, and that's not a good sign. That means that I'm just not connected to the deck. It means that I am not interested or connected to the art in the deck. So this was a fail purchase for me. Legendary Ladies Goddess deck. This is stunning. The art style is stunning. I want a portrait of myself done in this art style, but I just don't use goddess decks. Again, I think this is stunning, but I don't have a need for goddess decks. I previously in 2021, I had sold my, what is it called? The Kyle Gray deck by Kyle Gray. He has a deck, Ancestors, Angels, and I don't know. It's like purple. But I didn't like that either because I just don't have a use for it. I don't use decks that portray like gods and goddesses and angels and such in them. I just don't use those kinds of decks as oracles. Again, because I have such a specific need for oracle. I needed to have sort of like a theme, and like the perfect example for a good deck for me, oracle deck, is the Dark Mirror Oracle. I don't always use it, but if I have a need for a shadow reading, or I want to do a spread with a shadow aspect, like anything that is hidden that I want to know, I go for the Dark Mirror Oracle, and it does it so well. And I feel like that is what I want from oracle decks, and this one just didn't have a place in my collection. I think this is the last one that I decluttered in March, or one of the last. Pure Magic Oracle. This one had too many keywords that I had trouble figuring out what this card was even trying to tell me, because there were too many options for meanings for me. So this one, like, again, gorgeous, stunning cards, but I don't know, it was not usable for me. Yeah, this was the last deck that I decluttered in March, the Tarot Bernard. And this was a really hard deck for me to declutter. First of all, because it's an indie deck, and I always find it really hard to declutter indie decks, because they cost more money than mass market decks. But this one is, it was so cute. Look at the cards. It's really cute. It's about a little fox. It's watercolor, but there were just too many things about this deck that I did not enjoy. There were some decks, like some cards like this. You have like a watercolor image and then a lot of white on top. And then here you have this, they tried to have this entire watercolor scene within the cards, and it just felt not cohesive enough. In the art style, I wanted more white. But then also, I just felt like I wasn't able to connect to this fox, which made it really hard for me to connect to this deck in general. I also didn't like the cardstock. I felt like the cards were really bended or really bent, and I wasn't having a great time shuffling it either. I have mobility issues in my hands, so the shuffle of a card or of a deck is really hit or miss for me. And for me, this one was a miss. Oh my god, another deck that I decluttered in March. This is the Happiness Tarot, but it gave me anything but happiness, okay? It gave me anger. It gave me the feeling of injustice, because this deck is 50 euros. And I got it for more, like, way cheaper than that, because it was part of my subscription of the Happiness magazine. They have Happiness is a magazine here in the Netherlands, and they created a tarot deck. So this is a Dutch tarot deck, which of course also I should have known that I don't need a Dutch tarot deck. But the art of this, it looks stunning, and I like the purple and whatever. But then when I took the cards out of the box, oh my god, horrendous quality. Not like the cards are gilded, so that is kind of pretty, I guess. But the gilding, it sticks to each other, and when you run your fingers along the sides of the card, you feel the gilding, like it sticks out, so that feels low quality. But also, I could have the entire deck as a stacked deck in my hand and fold it together, like fold it edge to edge. That is how incredibly thin these cards are. And when I try to do readings with it, I constantly, and I'm not a rough shuffler, but anytime that I shuffled this deck, I was afraid that I was gonna bend one of these cards. One time it actually almost happened. And that is when I stopped using this deck and when I sold it. And I'm so incredibly sorry to anybody who has ever purchased this deck for 50 euros, because I'm sorry, but you wasted your money and it's not worth 50 euros. There are so many other more beautiful decks that you can buy that are similar to the Happiness Tarot, which we actually come to, I think, in the next slide, because I feel like the True Heart Intuitive Tarot has an art style that is kind of similar to the Happiness Tarot. This is also not amazing cardstock. This one feels more cardstocky, where the Happiness Tarot very much feels more papery. But I overall, I liked the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. I just felt like it didn't really have a place in my collection, because I have a lot of other more modern decks that I just reached for more than I did the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. So this is not me like not like, oh sorry, this is not like me not liking this deck, because I did. I didn't use it anymore because I had other decks that I used more. So in June, this is all June, right? Yes, June, I decluttered the Earth Alchemy Oracle, and I'm pretty sure that I also purchased it in June. And it was a horrible deck for me because it was about crystals, linking them to plants, linking them to, I don't know, whatever elements, or I don't know. I am not well versed enough in all of those things that I was able to use this deck. If you are very well versed in those things, then this deck is probably amazing for you. But it wasn't for me. Oh wow, it literally says on the front, cards to connect to the wisdom of plants and crystals. But I have to say, you already have to have a little bit of wisdom about plants and crystals if you want to use this. But also, I just didn't like the keywords that came with it. I thought the artwork was stunning, but overall, I was not able to use this as an oracle. I tried to do a deck study on it, and after like 3 cards, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna sit through this. I'm gonna sell it. So that is what I did. In June, I also got rid of my rabbit tarot, which I felt really sad about. I got this at the same time I got my tarot because they're both from the same creator. Keisha, I got this deck from the gamecrafter.com. But overall, I didn't need both the tarot and the rabbit tarot, but I like the tarot more and I see myself using the tarot more than the rabbit tarot, so that is why this one had to go. Also, this one makes use of like different suits than ones that we are like that we're used to. So, and because this is not a deck that I often use, every time that I would reach for this deck, I would have to refamiliarize myself with the suits. So that was just a no for me. In June, oh, this is not centered in the middle. I hate that actually. But we're gonna go with it. The Tarot of the New Vision mini edition. I got this as a gift, also, so this was harder to let go of. But I didn't use this. I had an idea of how I wanted to use it, and I did a couple of times, but I felt like it didn't really make much sense for the way that I read tarot. I also I don't know, I didn't feel like I needed it in my collection. I like the concept of this, but it's not really something that I need in my life or my collection. The only deck that I decluttered in July was the Muse Tarot, and I actually decluttered this in July and in September, and I'm pretty sure again in November. But I'm gonna put it here because this is a stunning deck. I did an entire deck study on this where I went through all of the cards and all of the images, and I created my own cheat sheet, and I shared all of that in a video. I think it's a stunning deck. I think that for some people, this could be like an amazing deck, but it's just not for me. So if you do have this deck or you are interested in this deck, I definitely recommend you check out my deck study on this on my channel. I've heard that it has helped a lot of people who have this deck who had trouble reading it. So definitely check that out. I'm pretty sure September is the last month that I did like a big declutter. So we're heading into the last couple of decks here. First, the Housewives Tarot. This was such a hard one to let go of because this is a stunning deck. At one point, I was kind of sure that this was gonna be like my soul deck. It's not, but I thought it would be. Yeah, the last time that I used it was for a birthday reading for someone who is an Aries, so that will tell you how long ago I used it, like last. And she really loved it, and I just felt like I don't feel the same enthusiasm about this deck than I did like a year ago, and it needs to go. I keep having in my collection, feeling really bad about myself, and I don't have to. I sold it, and it's now with someone who hopefully loves it more and gives it more love than I could. Okay, Happy Tarot. This is a deck that definitely gives more punches than you would think looking at it, right? It looks so happy and fun and whatever. It can punch you in the face, and it did for me. And that is why I sort of let it simmer for a while, and then I decided, you know what, I am not reaching for this deck. I don't like it. If I want to like have a deck that tells me how it is, I have other decks for that, and I don't need a deck to tell me how like shitty I am and to punch me in the face while looking this cute. I don't know, there was something about it. It needed to go. Tarot of Mystical Moments was also a gift from someone, so again, really hard to let go of, but it was needed because I was not able to read with this deck. I think the images are really pretty and it's really interesting. the artwork and the way that it's all put together, but it was way too confusing for me. I was not able to read with this. I tried to do like a personal reading or whatever I did with it, and I couldn't make sense of it. So I had to let it go. And Wildwood Tarot, this is a deck that is it has like almost its own structure. It is definitely based on RWS, but it's not a typical RWS deck, where with this deck you really have to read the guidebook to understand how all the cards are connected to the Wheel of the Year and everything. So it's a really cool concept, but I found myself not willing to put the work in to read with this deck sort of as it was intended. And then I also felt like I couldn't really use it as an RWS deck. So I had to go. It had to go. And I'm pretty sure this is my last deck that I decluttered, but I do have one that I didn't put in the images, but that I have in real life. So I'm going to show you in a second. The Zombie Tarot. I also let go of this. I purchased this earlier in 2022. If you saw my decks that I got in 2022, I talked about this. It's cute, it's funny, it's clever, and actually, recently I got a comment from a viewer who said, "Oh, the Zombie Tarot is actually a really good deck for political tarot readings because of some of the depictions." I was like, "Oh my god, you are so right," but I don't have it anymore. So, yeah. If I still had it, I think it definitely would have been great for political tarot readings that I do here, live streams every Saturday. But yeah, I don't have it anymore. So those were the decks that I decluttered, except for the Arcanum Tarot. So that is what the Arcanum Tarot looks like. It's really pretty. It's like, it looks AI generated, which I do not have a problem with. I don't know. Look at this. I do think that it is stunning, and I like the use of colors. I just felt not really drawn to work with it, so I didn't. So yeah, that now I would love to hear what you decluttered in 2022. What did you think of the decks that I decluttered? Are you gonna do something in 2023 to hopefully make you declutter less decks? I'm not really sure how I want to go about purchasing decks and decluttering them and keeping track of my collection better. I don't know. I'm all really unsure about this. But if you haven't seen the decks that I got in 2022, click the link on the screen right now to watch it. Subscribe to the channel for more tarot chats and political tarot reading live streams every Saturday. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!